Kept standing for His Worship the Mayor.
Croeso I gyfarfod llawn yn Cyngo. Welcome to the full council meeting. Please note that this meeting will be recorded for subsequent broadcast via the authority's internet site. The images and sound recording may also be used for training purposes within the authority. The public seating areas will be in view of the camera, and by entering the chamber and using the public seating area, members of the public are consenting to being filmed and to the possible use of those images and sound recordings as outlined above. So the first item on the agenda, apologies for absence.
Yes, Mr Mayor, we have apologies from Councillor Paul Brown, Councillor Tanya Skinner, Councillor Kevin Gibbs and Councillor Tony Rogers.
Thanks. Next item on the agenda is declarations of interest. Oh, yes, David.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Item 7 and item 8, I'm a licensee in Merthyr Tydfil.
Any other declarations of interest? No, oh, fair enough then. Next item on the agenda is to approve the accuracy of the minutes of the meetings listed.
I move the accuracy of the minutes, Mr Mayor.
I second, Mr Mayor.
Yeah, Gareth?
Yeah, thank you, Mr Mayor. I'd just like to point out make one correction, if I would be so kind, please. Can't get my words out this morning. I rest my case, Mr Mayor. Yeah, it is Christmas after all. Page 9, Mr Mayor, item 533, which is the medium-term financial plan. Members will recall that during that agenda item, I made a brief statement about the position of the Labour group. That we agreed with some items of the MTFB but disagreed with others. However, it was a snippet, or a caption in time, and I asked for those comments to be recorded, but they're not showing as part of the minutes. So I spoke with Ellis yesterday evening and he agreed for them to be put in, but I just wanted to put it on record, Mr Mayor. Thank you.
We take it to the vote. Take it to the vote then. Yes.
Councillor Julian Amos, please.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. And Councillor David Jones, please. That's it, that's complete.
Oh, that's complete. Oh yes, it's carried that unanimously. The next item on the agenda is item number 4, council tax base for 2019-2020. I think Andrew's taken this one.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Council tax base 2019-20. Annual report is a key stage in the setting of the council tax and in determining our financial requirement in the coming year. You will see the latest valuation list at 3.2. I'll take you to 2.1, where the recommendation is taking into account the number of properties in each valuation band, discounts, reductions for disabilities and future likely changes in the valuation list. I would recommend that the Council passes the following resolution. That pursuant to this report and in accordance with the Local Authorities and Council Tax Regulations 2004, the number calculated by Merthyr County Borough Council for the 2019-20 shall be 18,227.63 and for the area covered by Bedlinog Community Council for 2019-20 shall be 1,169.67. I shall move, Mr Mayor.
I second that.
Are there any questions? No questions. Any comments? No? Oh, well, we'll take it to the vote then. Thanks. That's complete. Yes, that's carried unanimously then. The next item on the agenda item 5, the Treasury Management Outturn Report 2017-18. And Andrew's taken this one.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Treasury Management Outturn Report 17-18. The report outlines the authority's performance in respect of the management of the organisation's cash flows and its banking, money market and capital market transactions, the effective control of the risks associated with those activities, the pursuit of optimum performance consistent with those risks. The annual Treasury report can be found at Outturn report for 17-18 be received. The actual 17-18 Treasury indicators be received. I move.
Thanks. Is there a seconder?
I second that.
Are there any questions? Are there any comments? No? Oh, we'll take it to the vote then. Thanks. Oh, that's completed and it's carried unanimously. So the next item on the agenda, item number 6, the Treasury Management Half-Year Review Report 2018 to 19. So Andrew's taking this one again.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Treasury Management Half-Year Review Report 18-19. In the same vein as the previous report, Appendix A, the report talks to the substantial sums of finance dealt with by Steve and the team over the first 6 months of the current financial year. The recommendation is 2.1 in that the Treasury Management Half-Year Review Report 2018-19 be received. I move, Mr Mayor.
Is there a seconder?
So second.
Second. Are there any questions? No? Are there any comments? No? Oh, well, we'll take it to the vote then. Thanks. The voting's complete and it's carried unanimously. The next item on the agenda is review of statement of licensing policy under the Gambling Act 2005, and Andrew's taken this one again. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Review statement of licensing policy under the Gambling Act 2005. This is the first of 2 licensing reviews tonight. This one is the Gambling Act 2005 that is reviewed every 3 years. The policy has been in front of the Licensing Committee on the 18th of July 2018. The 12-week consultation ran from August to November 2018 with no responses. The recommendations are 2.1. The revised statement of licensing policy 2019-2022 be approved and to come into force on the 31st of January 2019. I move.
Is there a seconder?
I second that, Mr Mayor.
Right. Are there any questions? Oh, Clive.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Can you take it to page 70? And it's referring to 3.5, and it lists there those who must be consulted as per the section 3493 of the Act, namely the Chief Officer of Police of the area, one or more persons who appear to the authority to represent the interests of persons carrying out gambling business, and one or more persons who appear to the authority to represent the interests of persons who are likely to be affected by the exercise of the authority's functions under this Act. Mr Mayor, there were only 2 responses. One came from solicitors on behalf of the Association of British Bookmakers, and the other response was from the organisation called GAM Care. Could I ask, for example, those who need to have these machines, gambling machines there, and for example, licensees, and there are quite a few of them in the county borough, could someone tell me exactly how they were consulted, and if they were consulted individually?
Hi.
Oh, you're taking it. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks.
I can confirm that with the gambling premises, all public houses that hold a permit were casinos, the managers were written to directly at their premises, but we also sent letters to the head offices and the overarching businesses as well.
Just to clarify, you did refer to all the licensees in the county borough had an individual letter, is that correct?
Yes, every licensee involved in the county borough had a letter. Obviously, people like Ladbrokes, they also had additional letters to head office.
Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? No? Any comments? No? Oh, well, we'll take it to the vote then. Thanks. The voting's complete, and it's carried unanimously. The next item on the agenda item 8, is the 5-year revision of statement of licensing policy under the Licensing Act 2003. Sorry, Andrew. Yeah.
Thanks, Mayor. 5-year revision of the Statement of Licensing Policy Act, the Licensing Act 2003, the second of the 2 policy reviews. This was also brought before the Licensing Committee on the 18th of July. The consultation period ran from August to October 2018. There were no responses to the consultation other than from South Wales Police, highlighted at 3.6 of the report. The Licensing Policy 2019 to 2024 is attached. The recommendations at 2.1, the revised statement of the Licensing Policy 2019-24 be approved and come into force on the 7th of January 2019. I move, Mr Mayor.
Is there a seconder?
A second, Mr Mayor.
Fair enough. Are there any questions? Any comments? No? Oh, we'll take it to the vote then. Voting's completed. It's carried unanimously.
Do you want to get David? Councillor Jones.
Oh, Councillor Jones. I forgot he disappeared. Good job, you keep your eye on me. Wait, I don't know, we'll manage when you're gone. The next item on the agenda item 9, representative to other bodies, 2018 to 19, is an update report. The leader's taken this.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The report is as follows: to approve a change in the membership of the Appeals Committee, to advise the establishment of a new community zone group in the Gurness ward and appoint the 4 ward members as the authority's representatives, to note the appointment of a new chair of audit committee, change to champion roles and other bodies' representation. The recommendations are as follows: the appointment of Councillor David Hughes to the Appeals Committee be approved, the establishment of a Gurness Community Zone Group be noted, the appointment of the 4 Gurness Ward members as local authority representatives on the Gurness Community Zone Group be approved, the appointment of Councillor Clive Jones as Chair of Audit Committee be noted, the changes to the champion and other body representatives be noted. I so move.
Is there a seconder?
Yes, I second that, Mr Mayor.
Thanks. Are there any questions? Oh, Darren? Darren, yeah.
I'm voting now. I'm not on it tonight, Mr Mayor. I'm not on it at all. I think I know the answer because one of my group members did consult with the Constitution, as easy as that is. But is it normal for a member of the executive to be a member of the Appeals Committee, please?
Yeah, just a hasty conflab here. I don't think there's anything that precludes it. Whether it's usual, I wouldn't like to say because I haven't looked into that, but there's nothing to prevent it.
That was the answer that I concluded as well, so thank you for confirming. Thank you.
Oh,
I did make that query, as I recall, with Democratic Services, and I do recall a conversation some time ago, Dad, to be honest with you. Okay, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Oh, yes.
Diolch yn fawr, Chair. Thank you very much. The Welsh Language Measure 2011 gave the Welsh language official status in Wales, meaning that Wales should be treated no less favourably than the English language. The Welsh Language Promotion Standards impose duties on local authorities across Wales to promote the use of Welsh language more widely and to support and encourage its use within the communities they served. Based on comments in his 2017 election manifesto, is the new champion best placed to lead on this, considering his views that Welsh language materials should only be available upon request?
There you go. Go on, Geraint.
Da iawn, Scott, da iawn. I was a former pupil of Ysgol Santes Tydfil, as you know, and I believe, yes, I will be a worthy champion, taking the Welsh language forward. But I believe that the right money, or the funding, should be in the right places as well. And, you know, as you know, I'm fully in support of another primary school and a full Welsh medium secondary school in Merthyr. And I think if we want to increase the Welsh speakers in the borough and get to that 1 million figures that the Welsh Government want, that's an essential part of the plan. Diolch.
Diolch yn fawr.
Sorry, Mr Mayor, I've just spoken to Caris about this appeals committee. Whilst there may be no restriction for a cabinet member to sit in the appeals committee, there will be many issues where a conflict will arise, because obviously the appeals committee deals with matters which cabinet make decisions on. So if the cabinet member is sat on that decision-making body, then they can't deal with the appeal. So I think it may well be to, as things progress, if obviously the cabinet member sees that he can't sit on the committee because of conflict, then obviously the group may need to have a little look at that again, because things that come to mind are traffic orders, etc., and all those issues go to the cabinet.
Are there any other questions? No. Any comments? Oh, Chris.
Thank you. Mr Mayor, I welcome what Councillor Thomas has said in relation to the allocation of the Welsh Language Champion role to Councillor Geraint Thomas, but I think he will be a worthy champion as the former champion, and you know what he has to ensure is this council is compliant with the Welsh Language Measure, which means that it's not about making Welsh materials available at request. We have a duty to provide a service through English and Welsh, so I'm sure Councillor Geraint will, and the administration, ensure that we are fully compliant with our standards, not to ensure we have a visit from the Welsh Language Commissioner and the potential of having a £5,000 fine levied on us. So I'm sure he will do a very good job in his role.
Mr Mayor, I think I've got to respond to that. The issue is that Councillor Davis will know that this authority is seen by the current Commissioner as an exemplar authority. She actually wished to use us in the good practice day that we had about a month ago. And as Councillor Davis will know, that we fully comply with our requirements where we can in regards to the Welsh language. We will continue to do that. We will continue to ensure that this authority continues to comply. But as I've said, Mary, as always, compliments Merthyr County Borough Council, not only because of what we do, but primarily because we punch far above our weight in regards to Welsh language.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, since it's the festive season and there's a little bit of a jogality tonight, I'll have to congratulate the leader on the choice that he made between who's the equality champion, who's the Welsh champion. If he'd made the choice the other way around, I think it would have been a little bit more barbed comments being made tonight.
Thanks. Are there any other comments? Yeah. Are there any other comments? That corner's very quiet across here today. Yeah. Oh, sorry, Geraint. Yes.
I think I've got to come back in here, I think, yeah. I'd like to congratulate Councillor Thomas as well on his new choice of career as a wrestler. And I'm sure we'll be having some half Nelsons and a couple of moves in the future. Thank you, Mr Barry, as well, Councillor Barry. Thank you.
Well, if there are no other comments, we'll go to the vote then. Thanks. voting's complete and it's carried unanimously. The next item on the agenda item 10, is the draft local toilet strategy, and Geraint has taken us through this report.
Thank you all. It's all going down the pan tonight, I know that, yeah. Right, the summary report is set out in 1.1 to 1.5. Part 8 of the Public Health Wales Act 2017, provision of toilets, came into force on the 31st of May 2018 and placed the duty of each local authority in Wales to prepare and publish a local toilet strategy for this area. Local authorities in Wales now have the responsibility to carry out the assessment of the need of toilets in this area by mapping existing toilets available for public use, identifying gaps through engagement with communities and working with partners to find solutions, produce a local toilet strategy, review the strategy, update and publicise revisions. A working group led by the Environmental Health Manager has produced a draft toilet strategy, and I think we should thank Susan Gow for the work she's done on this. It's been amazing how she's brought everybody together, and Steve is sitting here as well, and he understands that. The draft toilet strategy is required to undergo a 12-week minimum public consultation. The toilet strategy is required to be published by local authorities by the 31st of May 2019. The recommendation in 2.1 is that the Council undertakes a minimum of 12 weeks public consultation on the draft local toilet strategy from January 2019 to March 2019. I so move.
Is there a seconder?
I second that, Mr Mayor.
Are there any questions? No? Are there any comments? No? Oh, we'll take it to the vote then, thanks. The voting's complete, so it's carried unanimously. So, next item on the agenda item 11, housing renewal policy. Geraint has taken us through this report. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. We brought this report previously to the last council meeting, and obviously councillors didn't have the chance to read the appendices that were on the council website. So it's come back this evening. I think everybody's aware now of what's in the policy. So I'd like to set out in the summary of the report in 1.1 to 1.2 that legislation requires the local authorities create and publish a housing renewal policy which clearly defines the types of assistance available and who is eligible to apply. The updated version of the policy covering the period from 19th December 2018 to the 31st of March 2021 is available via the background papers link, which we all should have seen. So I go straight to the recommendations in 2.1. The Housing Renewal Policy 19th December 2018 to the 31st of March 2021 be approved with immediate effect. I so move.
Is there a seconder?
Second that, Mr Mayor.
Are there any questions? Or Councillor Barry?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Mr Mayor, can I ask for some clarity, probably off Alan, regarding a number of rumours that have been circulating on social media? And if true, and I do emphasise if true, far from benefiting all, some individuals or groups of individuals would be disadvantaged by this change in policy. So I can ask for a categorical assurance that these rumours are unfounded.
I'm not clear how you think that the council can comment on rumours. If there is some suggestion that you want to make and ask for somebody specifically to say whether that's true or not, then you'd need to say that. But I don't think you can presuppose that anybody knows what rumours are being circulated.
I understand that it's possible that some people or groups of people will be disadvantaged by this change in policy. Can you either confirm or deny those, please, Alan?
If you base this is an update to the previous policy, so this is an update to the renewal policy. The policy contains many different areas that affect people. It relates to changes in grants available for housing renewal purposes, such as loans in relation to improvement to houses. It relates to the DFG policy, Disabled Facility Grant. Based on the update from the previous policy, I cannot see any items that disadvantage people based on the previous policy.
Councillor Roberts.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, it was just confirmation, really, that if any applicants have got an application pending, that they will still be eligible under the new scheme. It's not going to start from tomorrow. It will take into account all applications that are currently in the system and that will be coming into the system in the future.
I'm assuming that you're making reference to the DFG policy, yeah?
Yes, I am. Sorry about that.
In relation to the disabled facility grant, then if there are any live applications in the system, then that wouldn't mean that any applicants would have to stop the process and reapply. These policy changes would be applied to anything in the system.
Oh, yes, Councillor Richards, yeah.
Alan, it's with regards to the DFG again, my question relates. If the works are over £36,000, I'm unclear when the 10,000 cut-off comes in and when the panel would sit, or is the 10,000 completely separate from the panel sitting? And as a follow-up, is there a limit then of how much can be awarded if the panel were to sit?
The intent of the report is there are two elements which cater for any awarded grant with the DFG, which is over the prescribed legislative £36,000. The change in the policy gives the Chief Officer for Community Regeneration the discretion of up to £10,000 where there are unforeseen works which are identified after a grant has been awarded. There's a second element which probably is the biggest change to the policy. Again, at the present time there's no provision to award a grant based on anything outside the statutory criteria of the DFG. The difference in this policy, if there are any considerations which are outside the statutory framework of the DFG, based on identified need as defined by the Social Services and Wellbeing Act, then there is no upper limit prescribed here that could be awarded.
Further question relates to when the panel has to sit. Would the applicant have right of representation, right to attend or be represented at any panel were it to meet?
No, not based on not based on the changes to the policy. That doesn't incorporate that facility.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It follows up really an answer Alan gave to Councillor Roberts. He did say, given assurance that applicants that were in the pipeline at the moment would still be treated the same way as they would before this new policy came in. Taking that back to the answer given to Councillor Barry, there's obviously going to be a difference in treatment of sets of applicants. Now, I appreciate we can't really comment on rumours, but could it be that that is where this is coming from? Because new applicants, presumably, from your comments, will be treated differently to existing applicants. You see what I mean?
No, I don't think that's actually the case. At the present time, all applicants, with the old policy, all applicants were treated the same way and could only receive a DFG payment to the maximum of £36,000. If this policy is approved, then all applicants, even those in the system, will be treated exactly the same, but will have the ability to be assessed on criteria outside the DFG to a prescribed value which doesn't have a limit on in this policy context.
Are there any more questions then? No, we'll go on to comments. Are there any comments? Oh, to Darren?
I keep pressing this yes button every time, Mr. Mayor. It's not a good night. Okay, yeah, firstly, thank you to Alan for going through the change in the policy step by step with us. We did have a few concerns over the setup of the panel. Obviously, when you're talking about cases of the most vulnerable in society, it should never be about politics. So, you know, we felt that it should be 3 from the lead group, 3 from the opposition, so there's parity there. So, obviously, I spoke with Councillor Geraint-Thomas, and he was of the same opinion as myself, and obviously that went to Alan again. One concern that we did have was that it shouldn't just be about politicians on there either. So we wanted to have the inclusion of a professional advisor that's obviously a specialist in the field. So I'm pleased to see that that has been included into the panel, because I think that's essential. Thank you.
Thanks. Councillor Amos?
Mr Mayor, it's a point really following on from what the questions that Councillor Richards made, is that mindful of the fact that when this panel meets, it'll be advised by our solicitor, and that's the advice that they'll be getting. Don't you think, in the interests of fairness, that it also should be hearing from a solicitor representing the applicant? Because it seems to be a bit one-sided.
No, it's not a court. It's simply a discretion, and there will be criteria to be considered. So the local authority solicitor will be advising the local authority officers about the application of that policy. The applicant makes an application, the local authority will consider what to do with that application. So it's not something that requires legal representation from the applicant.
And themselves will not be able to make their own representations.
Are there any other comments? No? Oh, if there's no other comments, we'll take it to the vote then.
He's voted yes about 4 times. You haven't voted at all. Thank you. That's complete.
Yeah. Well, the voting's complete and carried unanimously. Thanks. So, the next item on the agenda, agenda item 12, the homelessness strategy for 2019 to 2024. And Geraint is taking this one.
Thank you, Mr Mayor. The homeless strategy for 2019-2024. The summary of the report is set out between 1.1 and 1.3. The report provides an outline of the key findings of the corporate homelessness strategy for 2019-24. Following a review undertaken from November 2017 to November 2018, a homelessness strategy for Merthyr Tydfil CBC has been produced. The production of a homelessness strategy for local authorities is a requirement of the Housing Wales Act 2014. The legislation requires council approval by the 31st of December 2018. I'd like to thank Keris for the work she's put into this strategy. It's quite concise, and I think it details every problem that we have in the borough as far as homelessness is concerned. So I'd like to go straight to the recommendations in 2.1. Council adopts the homelessness strategy for 2019-2024 to enable the local authority to meet the Welsh Government deadline of adoption of the strategy by 31st December 2018. I so move.
And the seconder?
Second, Mr Mayor.
Thanks. Are there any questions? Councillor Jones?
Thank you, Mr Mayor. Can you take it to the homelessness strategy and to, first of all, page 290 of it. Under the heading Key Achievements to Date, but halfway down there, it refers to a development of a service level agreement between housing and the children's section of the Social Services Department and it says they're outlining how they will conduct joint assessments of 60 to 70-year-olds who present as homeless. Does that mean that we don't know the numbers, the figures of those who are actually homeless who are aged 16 to 17 at the moment? So as far as the two departments are concerned, no 16 or 70-year-old is going to fall in between, and that they would be unknowns out there that shouldn't be homeless.
If I could, just reassure Councillor Jones, in my role as Chair of Corporate Parenting Board, we've had discussions with senior officers in social services and with Julian Pike when he was here as Head of Housing, that there will be that dialogue to ensure that any of our children, particularly those who are looked after, there's going to be one pathway now, and all social workers, all team managers, all housing staff are aware the pathway into access homelessness for particularly young people who are in care of the local authority is into Housing Advice Centre here at the Civic Centre. So just to reassure you, we've looked at that as developing that pathway through the Corporate Parenting Board, and we're having quite clear monitoring, review and oversight of that as well.
Thank you, Councillor Davis.
Yes, Gareth. Clive, I just want to pick up. We don't know what we don't know. So as has been said, those who present will go through this process, but there may well be 16 and 17-year-olds out there that we don't know, don't present, so therefore obviously won't be able to look after them. Whilst what's been said is right, it's not everyone, so there may be some young people out there which we don't know about, and obviously we can't deal with until they present.
Are there any other questions? Oh, yes, Dave.
Yes, thanks. Can I take you to page 277 and 614? At the bottom, it's got tester flats offered by Merthyr Valley's Homes. Can anybody tell me what they are? How many are there? And what would be the criteria for a tester flat?
The tester flats there are currently 8. They are currently located in certain locations. They are going to be moving to being dispersed across the borough due to ongoing concerns over antisocial behaviour. They're essentially a one-bedroom flat for anybody who's had experience of homelessness, who's been at one of our hostels as part of our move-on process, to make sure that once that person is in there, we can assess the support that they need to continue to maintain a tenancy, and the aim is then for them to move on to from that property into a permanent tenancy with all the correct support to make sure that that tenancy is maintained and sustainable for that person.
Are these tester flats, for a better word, the old container units done out?
No, the container units are a completely separate scheme. The container units are aimed at people in the borough who are working but cannot afford a private rented property because of their low income. That's what the container homes are for. These are different. These tend to be for people who have been in our hostels, who need temporary accommodation, need further accommodation, but need a little bit of extra support for a period of time before we give them secure accommodation for permanent.
Thanks. Are there any other questions? Oh, Councillor
Mayor,
Jones.
following on the point made by Councillor Isaac, are you able to inform us where these tester units are?
Supposed to be advised, but I mean, no, we're not, unfortunately. They are moving and they are going to be dispersed throughout the borough, but we don't know the locations currently.
I might know the answer, but is there a particular reason why we can't be informed?
For the safety of the individuals involved. They've got support needs, and we don't want to cause them an issue when they're living in a property to try and give them permanence. And their complex needs, we're trying to make sure they have secure housing that's appropriate and that they can live there safely as well.
Are there any other questions? Oh, we go on to comments then. Are there any comments? Oh, Councillor Jones, yeah.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On the same strategy, this is on page 294. And towards the top of that page, they give 5 reasons for a household becoming homeless in 2017-18. And the second one down was leaving prison. One of the latest figures that I've seen is that there are approximately 500 individuals who live in the Merthyr area, Merthyr County Borough Council area, in prison at this moment in time, which is an astonishingly high figure. What do we know? What are the... well, I'm making a comment that it seems to me that you know, this is a high percentage, and there's a lot of work that needs to be carried out at the prison level before they come out of prison. I don't know whether that's been done.
Are there any other comments? Oh, Geraint.
Just a correction, really, I think. The last figures I think we heard on the prison figures was 250. So I think it's 50% less than what Councillor Jones said.
Oh, sorry? Yes. The next item on the agenda is an information report, the annual scrutiny report. There's the chairperson's comments. So we move on. The following next few items is... Oh.
Sorry to butt in, Mr. Mayor. Before you ask to move a section 100, can I ask the reason why agenda item 15 is an exempt paper? I can't see any information in there that's not in the public domain, and why it can't be dealt with in open session.
Yeah, the report is exempt due to advice we've been given from Welsh Government about the publicity of the information that's in there.
Okay, if that's the advice, I'm happy to accept it. Thank you, Alan.
So, well, I say was someone going to move section 100?
I'll move the section 100, Mr. Mayor.
Is there
I second it, Mr. Mayor.
So we take it for a vote for section 100. That lady at the back works for the council, does she? Yes. So that vote's unanimous. So there's no other urgent business I'm aware of. So I wish you all a happy Christmas and a safe New Year. Anyway,